What's up with it, guys? So, the San Antonio Spurs, damn, what a game. They take game 5 by near on 30 points. It's a big game. Victor Wembanyama, just unbelievable stuff from him. It's, such a positive game for them to take game 5 at home. It's a shame for the Minnesota Timberwolves. To be honest with you, I just never felt like they got it going. But in this video, I'd like to analyse a few of the reasons why and what I noticed. So the first thing that I really noticed was that the Minnesota Timberwolves could not put the ball down. The San Antonio Spurs ball pressure was absolutely phenomenal, and this went for all game. The defense on show from San Antonio was absolutely brilliant. Of course, we'll talk about Wembanyama and I could make a 20-minute video. I wouldn't begin to cover half of it. Victor Wembanyama is an unspeakably good player, both offensively and defensively. But the thing I want to talk about at the moment is how good the guys around him were. The ball pressure was phenomenal. Anthony Edwards did not get going at all this game. I know you look at the box score and you see 20 points and was it 40% efficiency? You think that's a decent Anthony Edwards game. Ant never got it going. I think, to be honest with you, the best player in the Minnesota Timberwolves tonight was Iolusumi. He was absolutely brilliant. I thought he was, the rim pressure he put on all the time was so good. Even with Wemby on the court, he tried. But, the amount of time you see him cut off a Nash dribble, it was just so impressive to see the difference that Wembanyama made, but obviously the people around him made too. And on the offensive side of the ball, Victor Wembanyama was absolutely flawless. Just the way he can run the point, the 2, the 3, the 4, the 5, just seamlessly. He runs the break like a gazelle. The amount of transition threes they were getting all game long. The amount of, when he can be screening, he can be the screener. He just does so much, and it made Rudy Gobert unplayable. I think Rudy Gobert had a really negative game today. I don't think he was good. On the offensive side of the ball, I thought he was absolutely awful. He just couldn't do anything, even with Wemby off the court. I think that comes down to, again, an age-old problem with Rudy Gobert. The defense is, we know what the defense is. He's a 4-time defensive player of the year. We know who he is. But the offense just hasn't got any better over however many years of his career. It's negative. And I think that's sort of how I summarise this performance as a whole from the Minnesota Timberwolves, is it's negative. I don't think it was a good performance. I don't think the offense got ticking at all. San Antonio came out, at the end of the second quarter, they missed 8 straight. And then by I think it was the 7th minute in the third, they'd made 1 field goal and they were 12 or 13 misses since that moment. And I think it was the Minnesota Timberwolves came out of the gate playing really well in the third quarter. They went on a 14-2 run and then just completely petered out. And then to end the quarter, the San Antonio Spurs went on a 30-12 run. And that felt like the game for me. It's just, you'd think that with Wemby off the court, that's when you need to be getting to the hole. And so many times in this game, we're seeing Jaden McDaniels hit, going for middies. We're seeing Julius Randle self-middies. I saw Julius Randle put his head down once, and he looked phenomenal when he did it. He just put his head down and just got to work. We're not seeing that. It's just the age-old problem of, okay, when Wemby's on the court, we cannot get to the rim. But when Wemby's off the court, we need to get to that rim. You cannot be settling for the same shots whether Wemby's on or off the court. But that, I think, is the psychological impact. I think that's really what this series is coming down to now. I think Anthony Edwards has been a shell of himself. And I don't think that Minnesota have got the team to keep up with San Antonio. San Antonio's guard play was phenomenal tonight. Stephon Castle all game. He got in a bit of early foul trouble, but all game after that, he was just so aggressive, putting the ball down, getting to the hole. And that's one of their guards. De'Aaron Fox was great tonight. His footwork was just so good. Him and Wembanyama in a 2-man game looks really exciting. Something I'd like personally to see more of. I think that could be really interesting going forward, especially as this new sort of San Antonio offense develops. I think that's something they've really got to be looking towards. Dylan Harper, phenomenal game. His handle was ridiculous. You forget how young he is and how good he is already. I think 5 offensive rebounds tonight. Absolutely flawless performance from him. He was so good. I think all of them were good. Keldon Johnson off the bench, the hustle, the grit. It was just so impressive. Devin Vassell, just so intentional and so aggressive. And I think that is how I would summarise this performance from San Antonio. Intentional, aggressive, calculated. I think it was a really impressive game for San Antonio. The scoreline was a fair reflection of them. I think 97 points is probably looks quite generous to Minnesota because they just never got going. I didn't see a moment where they were in the game bar in that start of that third quarter when you thought, okay. But even then, the momentum still feels in San Antonio's favour. They went on quite a few runs, Minnesota, but I never felt for a second that the game was out of San Antonio's reach. It was like, okay, when's Wemby coming back into the game? Or what's Wemby going to do now? Like, San Antonio missed all those 12 shots straight, or, you know, but you think, but we know. They just, yeah. I think a massive problem with Minnesota, especially with the Dante DiVincenzo ACL tear, which is obviously awful, you know, and that costs them so much. But his absence is really sharp, because I think if you were to have either him or Io come off the bench, I think this series looks a whole lot better. I really do. I think Io, I mean, for me, I'd like to see Io as a sixth man. I think that energy coming into when, you know, coming off the bench and bringing that intensity, then I think would really be a good swing for them. And, you know, when we've got, you know, the gap is so big when you've got 19 bench points scored for the whole game for Minnesota, barring garbage time, which I'm not counting. But then you've got San Antonio Spurs, this is again barring garbage time, 36 bench points. That's a hell of a difference. And it's just, yeah, it's just a big gap. And Minnesota just have, what, 2-3 players? Mike Conley was good for moments, but he's not playable much, is he? Because he's just, you know, he's just going to get targeted at every single action. That's the problem. But, you know, the Minnesota Timberwolves really need to figure something out, because if there's another game like that, I can see him going home before we get to Game 7. Hopefully Anthony Edwards bounces back. On the whole of it, I think it was a really negative game for Rudy Gobert. I never felt it. I think his rim presence was nothing. Like, it was, especially Stephon Castle, De'Aaron Fox, those kind of guys just did not seem bothered. They were going to go to the hole every single time. I think maybe it's because we're watching Wembanyama and we're thinking, okay, that's what the best rim protector in the world looks like. And then Rudy Gobert, who has been that, in fairness to him, he's been that for so many years, but there is levels to the shit. Wemby is that much better, and I think we're really seeing that. But the aggressiveness from San Antonio, I think it took Gobert out of the game. It's not a matchup Gobert can hang with, and like the moves that Wemby was putting on him off the gate, I think it just demoralised him, and he was absolutely abysmal offensively. And it's such a hole, to the point where they were going to double centre lineups, which just, again, they just never got going. It's just, if I was a Timberwolves fan, I would not feel good about what I saw last night. I also think what cost Minnesota massively was Jay McDaniels picking up that fourth foul, and just as they were starting to get rolling in the third quarter, just felt like that was a big swing for them. And to have now miss out on Jaden McDaniels for those, I'm not sure when he came back in the game, but it felt like ages. And by that point, San Antonio got a run. That was the game. That's all it takes. I mean, you like to see McDaniels a bit more disciplined. I feel like he picked off a few chippy fouls. A lot of them were on Wembanyama. I mean, when Wembanyama gets into the rim, but you might as well let him finish it. Like, a couple of times he's just pushing him. Like, he's gonna get the two anyway. I think they need to sort of be more disciplined in their approach, especially if they're going to be able to hit it to Game 7. But I don't feel great. So guys, that about wraps it up. Thank you very much for watching this video. It was a very, very good game, and if I'm being honest, I think we'll be seeing an OKC San Antonio conference finals, which is very, very exciting. Chet versus Wemby, all the guards in the world versus Shea. It's going to be a hell of an interesting series, but who knows? Minnesota, it's not gone for them yet. I just think they really need to look at their game plan, because they were getting so trapped. The offense just never felt good. They're going to have to find a way to get Ant going properly, because Ant just never got started. And if you're going to run your offense through somebody, you want it to be somebody who's on a heater, or able to get on a heater quick, and Ant just never had that. Admittedly, the injury, I imagine, is still causing his toll, but hopefully we see a better game 6. Thanks again for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.